All right. So we're going to start this conversation. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your name and where you're from and your background.
So my name's Paula. I started circus when I was about 10 in France. And I took classes all the way through uni, but I never did circus to a very high level. I actually started training circus more so I moved to the UK to study, and then I moved to Cardiff after my degree. And that's like when I was there, I started taking more and more circus classes. And I realized that if I was training a little bit hard or like a little bit more, I was progressing quite fast. So that's when I started being more interested in what I could do with circus, which led a few years later to me wanting to change careers and become a circus and theatre artist, which I now am.
Amazing. Cool. So tell me a little bit about how your training was before we started working together.
So while I was changing career, I also moved to a very rural area, and I realized that I was, before that, very reliant on class material, and that I was just going to classes and following what I was being told to do. But I never really thought about it, like actually thought for myself about how I would organize training, what I needed, what my body was like, and it just felt really overwhelming. So just happened to meet you around that time and realized after seeing some of your Instagram content that maybe that's what I needed, because I was lacking structure. I was lacking understanding of how you even structure training. And like, I just generally felt very overwhelmed with what I needed to do to achieve my goals, and felt quite alone and remote. So yeah, I mean, I was very good at training when I was being told what to do, basically, before that, and suddenly nobody was telling me what to do anymore, and I was like, oh gosh, and now what?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we were very lucky, weren't we? We actually met in Bristol at shows at the Albany Cabaret, which was cool. But it was 10 months later that you reached out to me, wasn't it? So was there any particular reason, like you mentioned my Instagram, but was there anything that made you think that I could be the coach to help you with your training, like the goals that you had?
I was just really interested in the locomotion stuff that you do, and like using not just standard conditioning to achieve something, but also like learning how to, it's like body perception and not perception, what's the word in English, like body awareness, and like different ways of moving in order to increase your body awareness to then get better at the specific conditioning exercises. And like, yeah, it was really the locomotion stuff that was like, that really did it for me, because I remember you posted a video where you kind of just did a sequence of locomotions that included some handstands and some other things, but it was just like oh, okay, well, this is skills part of something that's a bit more natural and organic, and that caught my eye.
Nice. Yeah, because I remember you wanted like playful training was part of the criteria,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So had you had experiences before where like you'd done training and it had felt very monotonous?
Yes. Although I've since learned that I actually really like structure and kind of repeat training.
Yeah.
But at that point, I mostly wanted something to bring me joy, because I was often training by myself.
Yeah.
And like, I don't really mind monotonous training if somebody tells me what to do, but if I have to be my own accountability, then I just can't handle it. And I need something to make it more exciting. Otherwise, I don't do it, basically.
Cool. So we worked together for 10 months and we did that last year. So I would love for you to just reflect a little bit on like the training itself. What were some of your biggest takeaways from our time working together?
You're gonna laugh at this. That the basics are really fun. I didn't think I would ever say this, because I'm one of these people that's always been relatively strong, and that has just done bypasses of things. And
Right.
like I've just kind of gotten things that were more advanced before I got the basics because I was strong enough to do that. But
Mhm.
that didn't like that also meant that I had lacks in the basic the understanding of the basic movements that then impeded me in like further advanced tricks basically. And so like one of the biggest takeaways from working with you is just by drilling some of the stuff that I drilled through your program was like oh, actually I do enjoy this and I see the progress. And
Mm.
like this is really fun, and if it's not fun enough you will change it for me. And
Yeah.
it's like, and by having a kind of another thing as well, which I didn't necessarily realize when we started but that I took away from it, is just like because I was traveling a lot at the time, I was like between gigs and like the training really gave me the structure that I needed, and it was kind of like a home base of like, okay, I'm going to find a training space and I'm going to do the structure that like is established that my brain knows, and actually it calms me a lot.
Mm.
It turns out. So yeah, and then yeah, the play sessions are always fun. It's like it's a good, yeah, the fact that the skill is focused, or like the way you organize this for me was focused on quality and not quantity.
Mhm.
The fact that, yeah, just the organization of the program was really nice. I liked it a lot. It kept my brain interested and like my body working.
Nice. And can you just like go over some of the skills that we focused on and like were you able to get them?
So we focused a lot on handstands,
Yeah.
and I it's a tricky one, that one, because that leads on to some of the things you're going to ask me later. But like I've since gotten into circus school, and the training that we've done on handstands is from a very different angle. And
Mhm.
so like I'm basically, I feel like the training we did kind of came at it really well from one side, and I've come at it really well from the other, and I'm kind of like I'm still missing some of the like basically I've had too much stuff from both sides, I think. But like I did get them. Like when we worked together, I had things and like I could balance.
Yeah.
And since then I feel like I've gotten backwards, but I also know that I've come at it from a different angle. So like, yes, as an actual answer to that question, yes, I went from having no awareness of the body in going upside down to actually knowing how to balance at least a few seconds and like in different positions. And especially like in understanding how to stack
Mm.
my body, and like, yeah, just general actual awareness of, oh, this is something I can reach now, rather than, or like as in like holding a handstand and potentially like performing a handstand is something that's now achievable, rather than before I was just throwing myself against the wall. So
Yeah.
um and then the other stuff we focused on was aerial conditioning, because I realized the more I talked to you and the more I saw the stuff you do is the fact that the basics were the things that I was missing. And so we set some real good groundwork for inversions
Mhm.
and skin the cats and like the kind of standard training bits that I can now do. And they started working when we were working together, because you explained to me the biomechanics of things and you gave me specific drills for specific parts of the biomechanics of something. And so, yeah, like, and I still use that stuff now. Like, I was doing skin the cats in class today, and I still use the fact that you made me do German hangs for 15 seconds, like, yeah, last year, to remember how to get back out. Like, it was the first time I properly understood how to go really down on the skin of the cat and come back up,
Yeah.
because like the way that you structured your training and you explained things to me, I understood how to roll the back in, because
Mhm.
I just before I thought I was stuck.
Yes.
And so, and like you looked at my beats as well, which, because the school I'm at is very dynamic focused, it was just, yeah, you gave some basic corrections on like what to think about and how to improve things. And yeah, so yeah, I think the handstand is a funny one because I've had so much conflicting training basically.
Yeah.
But I had them when we finished working together, and
Yeah.
there is video proof of that. And then like on the trapeze and like aerial conditioning stuff, it was like, I mean, yeah, that's like, it laid the groundwork, and I'm building on that every day now.
Awesome. So, you know, we were very lucky we could work together for 10 months. You know, like that is a really good length of time to consistently be following a program and having coaching support. And so, yeah, you feel like at the end of it, you came out with the skills that you wanted.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Cool. So you've mentioned that you're at circus school. So let's talk about where your aerial is now. And really the question that I have for you is, like, I would love to know if you feel like those 10 months kind of bridged the gap from where you were to getting you like
Yeah.
mentally and physically ready for CREAT, which is the school you're at.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, that's, I think if it hadn't been for that, I would have been really lost. Because it gave me structure, it gave me rigor in my training, it gave me an understanding of what was needed and what I needed to do. And so I think if I hadn't done that, I would have arrived and really not been able to make the most of it, because I would have scrabbled like for like, oh God, what am I doing? How am I even meant to start thinking about this? I would have been a lot more overwhelmed than I was, because the training is very intense, because we train many hours a week. But if it hadn't been for the training we did together, I think it would have, yeah, been not as fun.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it bridged the gap, and it was also something that it did, that, as I've definitely said this to you before, my best friend mentions, or has mentioned many times, is that working with you has given me a more realistic view of what actual training gains are, in like terms of using rest and being aware of quality of training rather than quantity of training. And like, I'd never really thought about that before. I was just going to, because I had a really stressful job at the time, I was going to lots of classes, and I was just killing myself at doing classes. And then I have now, thanks to working with you for 10 months, a much healthier view of what training was, what effective training is. And like, yeah, my best friend has said several times, I'm so glad that you work with Verity, because now you don't feel guilt the day you have a rest day, and you actually make some gains when you come back, because you realize rest is important.
Rest
So yeah.
is so important. Yeah, that's really great to hear. So just, I'd love to just know like a little bit about, like, obviously you're at circus school, like what is training like for you now? What kind of like experience do you have of it and like relationship with it?
So circus school specifically, one of the biggest takeaways is that it's okay to go through all the emotions, all the spectrum of emotions every day, and that is still okay. The training is very intense, but I'm really enjoying it. And I think it's like that I'm definitely can say that thanks to the training we did together, I've actually become nerdy about training. Like before, I was just like, just tell me what to do. I don't want to think. And I'm like, okay, well, let me think about how to effectively. Oh yeah, I was saying to somebody actually today about how I like recently in the last couple of years started learning things in by processes, realizing that there was a process to learning. And I think that comes from working with you actually. It's the fact that I'm like realizing that if you use a certain process and strategy for the learning, then you learn this way, and this is what I need in order to learn better. Like I've learned lots of things, details as well. Like I know from working with you that if I film myself and I see what I've done, I'm much more likely to be able to correct it than if somebody explains to me what I'm doing.
For sure.
And I use that every day in circus school. Like just today, I was doing a thing and I was like, I think I nearly get it. But like, oh shit. Wait 1 second. My mum is trying to call me. I will just call her back. But yeah, like, just seeing what the process is, and like understanding through the work that we did together how I learn best. So yeah, my relationship to training at circus school, I really love it. It's very intense. I
Mm,
need a holiday.
yeah.
But also I think it's an awesome experience, and I'm really, really grateful that I'm doing it because it's great. Like yeah, it's super intense. I'm always tired. I'm always sweaty. But I love it.
Yeah. And also, like, I'm not your coach anymore, but I obviously am following like your journey and seeing your training, and it's been amazing to think about where you are now compared to like when we started, and even when we first met at the Albany, like, you know, the progress that you have made, and it's because of the hard work you've put into it. Like, it's just, yeah, it's wonderful to see that. So awesome. Okay, so if someone is considering working with me but they're not sure, what would you tell them?
I mean, stop hesitating. Work with you.
Thanks.
Sorry, clear. No, I would say if you're looking for a coach that is awesome at celebrating your wins, will adapt the program. Verity sometimes sends videos of her dancing when you do something great, and it's worth it. But no, seriously though, if you are looking for a coach that will tailor, that will do a program that's very much tailored to your needs and to your abilities and to your goals, and somebody who is um, always ready to adapt and change things. So then, like, yeah, it's not the right phrasing, but yeah, basically work with Verity, because Verity is very good at celebrating your wins, tailoring the training to what you need, to the workload you might have that week. She is incredibly flexible, but also she is incredibly knowledgeable about not only the biomechanics of things, but also how, like, just learning works as an adult, um, and will apply all of the knowledge that she has to ensure that the program suits you. And like, if one way of explaining doesn't work, she'll have another one, and she'll try until she has one that works for you. Also, I think with the amount of experience you have coming from PT, is what? Drop my phone. This is great. I think that it's quite hard to go wrong, really, I would say, because you have such a breadth of experience that you will most likely be able to help the people that come to you. Um, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed working with you, and I would recommend it to anybody. I can't, like, there's so many things to say. I feel like I'm not doing you quite enough justice now. What else is there? Um, you coached me through how to manage workload and how to manage body and how to deal with injury. You also, like,
So on
yeah,
the injury front, the injury, that was a little bit of overuse, wasn't it?
it was overuse. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. It was me starting to do lots of classes from one day to the next, and I'm not really knowing, because I don't know how to deal with it. Well, now I know, but like, I didn't know how to deal with injury. Yeah, I've never really in my life before dealt with injury that much. So like, I just assumed the worst straight away, and it was overuse of a muscle in my forearm, and I was like, oh my God, I have tendonitis. And
Yeah.
then you were very kindly coaching me through the fact that it's probably not that, but also that's manageable, but
Mhm.
also kind of explained to me how it works. And yeah, it was overuse.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if you're looking for a coach that's experienced and knowledgeable and flexible and supportive and like will root for you no matter what, then I think that would be the best thing, would be to go with you.
Thank you so much, Paula.
Also, you take your job so seriously. You do it so well, and you want to do it so well, therefore you do it so well that, like, yeah, I mean, I would always recommend working with you.
thanks. I appreciate that so much. And from my side, working with you was an absolute dream. Is there anything else that you want to add before we finish up?
Can't think of anything right now, but I feel like I'm going to think of things once we are not on the call anymore, which
Okay.
sorry. No. I think I've said quite a lot of things, and I think that, like, basically, yeah, Verity is a great coach, and for me, it was exactly what I needed in the time that we worked together, and it did a hell of a job for me to have like a ground, a really solid ground to then go to circus school with. And that was not the plan when we started working together originally. And I then decided that halfway through, and Verity also helped me prepare the auditions and tailored the program in order to make sure that I got to my goals, basically. And so, yeah, I would recommend, hands down.
Thank you.